Oh boy. Tom and Jerry is directed by Tim Story, who directed Barbershop and the two Fantastic Four movies in 2005 and 2007, as well as the Shaft movie in 2019, and is based on the classic Hanna-Barbera characters Tom and Jerry, a cat and a mouse that get into a whole bunch of, shenanigans and everything. Tom is trying to capture Jerry. Jerry keeps evading him. We get a whole bunch of cartoon violence, and kids weren't warped by that at all because we all fucking knew better, even when we saw that stuff in syndication. And this is brought into the modern age with great animation and great characters and everything, and I wanted to fucking say that, but no, this was motherfucking shit. This is like if you took the concept of animated characters and live action, actors, like in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but you basically made it like the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie in 2000. You remember the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, don't you? That movie that nobody fucking liked. I don't think anybody in the cast fucking liked it. I fucking hated this. I absolutely fucking hated this, and I was never the biggest Tom and Jerry fan. So I am going to get into spoilers a little bit later, but I'll do like this when I get into that, but I'm going to rant a bit about this. I was never the biggest Tom and Jerry fan, but I did like them when I was a kid, and sometimes they got pretty fucking dark. And there are other characters, or elephants that are afraid of mice, there's peacocks, there's a dog Spike, there's a flirty little cat that Tom likes, and, there's the bad cats and everything. There's all the classic characters and just basically thrown to a goddamn blender and then shoved in everybody's goddamn face. And if you got HBO Max, I recommend you watch it on HBO Max, because you watch it in the comfort of your own damn home and turn it off after 10 minutes like I almost fucking did. If you do have kids, maybe they will like this. I don't fucking know if they will, because it's too adult for children and it's too childish for adults. Like, you can do a kids movie, like taking characters like this that, we all saw as kids, bringing it into the modern age. They've done it with Looney Tunes. Granted, that might not be the best example, because outside of Space Jam, I haven't really cared for any of the Looney Tunes live action movies that they've fucking done, but you can make it work. They didn't make it work here. They did not at all. It was like, for a movie called Tom and Jerry, a lot of the time you're just like, oh wait, this is more like it's about weddings, or it's about Chloe Grace Moretz's character, Kayla, BSing her way into a hotel job, and then having to continue to BS her way to do that, and having to act way below her ability. I just want to say that right now. I love Chloe. I think she was great. I reviewed Shadow in the Cloud just earlier this year. And while it wasn't a great movie, it was fun. It played around with its concept. This is an agonizing 100-minute movie that is so fucking devoid of comedy or life or energy. The animation, and I'm not even saying the animators are terrible at their job, but the characters just don't seem to fit. They barely are, they're barely 2D. They definitely aren't 3D, and they just seem fucking off. This seems like it had a really rushed production, and apparently, if you read up on it, it was announced all the way back in 2009 when the Alvin and Chipmunk movies were out. Boy, I fucking hated those, but you know what? They made a whole lot of money, and then you had the Smurf movies, and you had a whole bunch of other stuff. Taking all these classic properties and turning them into computer-generated live-action, animation, human centipede together concepts and all that. You're bringing it, to entertain kids and entertain adults and try to, get some of that sweet, sweet dollar, y'all. But this one somehow makes the Tom and Jerry 1992 movie look good by comparison. I didn't really like that even when I was a kid. So the plot, such as it is, has Chloe Grace basically BSing her way into a hotel job. And then you have a character named Terrence, played by Michael Pena. And I thought the Fantasy Island was the worst choice that he made, where he doesn't really believe that, Kayla, this is Kayla's resume. She basically pretends to be somebody she's not to get the resume of somebody, rips off the name. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, this isn't actually, they got gum on it or whatever. I'm BSing my way basically to do this, except I'm not going to tell you that because I really want the fucking job. And from there, we get Tom and Jerry, getting into the hotel, and Tom, I can't really describe this movie without getting into too many spoilers, but suffice to say, everybody that keeps making, various decisions, they do it in the worst way possible. The comedy between Tom and Jerry doesn't fucking work. It works in a short, cartoon concept. It doesn't work here. It feels forced. It feels like, it also, at the same time, while feeling rushed, feels stretched out to like its absolute goddamn limits. And for a movie called Tom and Jerry, it focuses so much on the human characters that you're like, oh, there actually are animated, characters in this. And no, I really don't care about them either. There really isn't much to, go on with this. And there's also a subplot with a wedding that needs to be put on at this hotel. This is going to be all lavish, but the groom and the bride are having disagreements, and Why'd they even make this a Tom and Jerry movie? Why didn't they make this a stupid comedy about putting a wedding together where the bride and groom are at odds? I'm not saying it would have been better, but it would have been cheaper. This was $50 million they sunk into this goddamn thing, and if this was shot in more than a month, I will be amazed. Now, I'm not saying the animation didn't take a bit longer, but this was really agonizingly bad. It was really fucking bad. I knew within the first 10 minutes I was probably not going to like it, but I was willing to give it a chance because I'd been wrong before. But they started with rapping pigeons. I'm going to say right now, hip-hop music can work in movies, and I like quite a bit of hip-hop music. This was really, really bad. Warner Bros. Apparently thought this was a good idea, but they, because of the pandemic, they decided to release this in theaters and on HBO Max. And it's a good thing, because had I seen this in theaters, I would have said to my friend 10 minutes in, I'm leaving, I'm getting the fuck out of here. That's how bad this was. I found this so fucking agonizing. The comedy feels forced. Chloe Grace seems like she's, totally fucking lost. Michael Pena, he isn't very good. There's a boss named Mr. DeBros that I kept calling Dude Bros, because of course I fucking did, Rob Delaney. And you got Ken Jeong, the guy from the Asian guy from the Hangover movies, who is funny. He's not funny in this. Everybody feels like they're doing this almost at gunpoint. Like nothing about this feels real. None of the humans act like actual humans. They just act like, they're stock characters, or they act like they're freaking mannequins that were just given goddamn life. And it's a shame, because maybe if they would have actually and I'm just talking like, in general, the production and the studio and anybody, if they had put any effort into this, it would have fucking worked. Chloe, I felt so fucking bad for her. Tom and Jerry didn't talk in this, at least I wanted to say that, but they did something really fucking bad. Tom was playing the piano in the Central Park and stuff like that, and then we find a whole bunch of other shit that, we find a bunch of stuff that plays into that a little bit later, because he wants to get into music and stuff like that. Let me just say this. I'm going to get into spoilers here in a little bit, so honestly, do not watch this movie unless you have kids and you want to just sit them down and have them watch this, but kids may end up being bored by this. Everything, any villains, any whatever, they're basically totally written off, or they're just turned around where like, oh, okay, everybody actually is good, everybody's got their flaws and stuff like that. That's pretty much what it is. But Tom and Jerry feel like afterthoughts. Everybody doesn't act like a goddamn human being. The comedy's forced. It's so badly designed. It's so badly shot. It's so badly scripted. I don't know what else to fucking say. It is really, really fucking excruciating. Goddamn excruciating to get through this fucking movie. Like, just honestly, like, it really is so fucking bad. Anyway, I'm getting into spoilers here, so let me just go with spoilers here. 3, 2, 1, and go. Go. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Don't fucking watch this. Okay, so there's this whole wedding going on at the hotel. The bride and groom are going at it as far as, and not like that, though I was afraid they were going to go that route, but the groom wants to give the bride a lavish wedding. And the bride is like, I just love you. I just want to have a simple wedding, stuff like that. And then you got Kayla falling for a guy named Cameron that also works at the hotel. And the romance stuff didn't bother me, but again, it felt a lot like the Rocky and Bullwinkle movies where, the 2000 movie, where every bit of comedy felt forced. And every character, every bit of fan service they tried to do this just didn't fucking work. Tom eventually gets into the hotel after, being kind of, down on his luck. His keyboard got broken because Jerry is, attacking, or Jerry, is trying to, basically get at Tom because they're always at odds, because they've been doing this for years. And at one point, the bride, or the groom, says about the dog Spike, sorry, he's a little animated. Just in case you wanted to be punched in the face a little bit more about how bad this comedy was and how bad this scripting was and everything. And the lobby gets destroyed. Michael Pena's character gets written out of the, he gets asked to, take a leave. And the funniest thing about this is it's an hour and 40 minutes, and we get to well over halfway in before Michael Pena's character is sitting at home and then sees, hey, wait a second, Tom and Jerry are being told to go out and spend time together or whatever. That's basically what Kayla says. Oh, I have this job, but you guys, you can't stay here unless you learn how to work together and you learn how to live together. You got to coexist. So go out on town. Oh, something happens at Yankee Stadium. They get thrown into, into basically animal jail, animal control. They're thrown into the pen. And then there are these cats that picked on Tom earlier that are like, oh, you need to eat the mouse. Oh, you're not gonna eat the mouse. Oh, wait, your guys are suddenly rescued. Michael Pena's character, it's like, hey, I can only take one of you guys back, and then he pits them against each other, and then they ruin the wedding. The bride gets upset. She basically fucking leaves a little bit later. Kayla ends up, confessing that she fucking lied about all her stuff. Ken Jeong basically destroys the goddamn cake because he's sick of the fucking mouse. Because why the fuck wouldn't you just do some goddamn stupid shit after you designed a goddamn cake? And the hotel's basically fucking destroyed. The bride's upset. The groom and her at the groom and him, her are at odds basically. And what happens is they're basically gonna end up separating. The groom feels really goddamn bad. Kayla says, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we get the wedding to happen like somewhere nearby?" There's this creepy doorbell girl that basically just pops up anywhere. It's like Watson in that one Sherlock Holmes game, and you know what I'm talking about. She basically just pops up and says, "Hey, how about that park across the street? You mean Central Park? I don't know what they call it." Nobody acts like a fucking human in this. Fuck! Who the fuck wrote this? Who wrote this? I want names. I want to know if they were held at gunpoint to do this. Anyway, so they go after the bride, and Tom and Jerry basically, this is sort of where it tries to come alive. They pursue her on a skateboard. They have the cat that's there, and the cat ends up chasing Jerry and gets hooked on this drone that gets flown back to Central Park, and then the wedding happens, and then everybody's happy-go-lucky and everything all works out. And it seems like Kayla and Cameron are going to get together and whatever. And it seems like my companion's character may be, flirting with the woman that had the original resume. And I fucking hated this. I hate every aspect of this. And I didn't expect it to be good. I was just sorely disappointed because while I wasn't a big Tom and Jerry fan, I'm just going to do that. It's not even worth cleaning up. Fuck it. Here. Fuck it. God damn it. It's on my goddamn head. I know that I probably shouldn't get unreasonably angry about a movie, but when I see something like this where money is poured into it, and I see indie films that struggle to get any kind of funding, that take forever, and this kind of tripe, this kind of shit is fucking released, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit goddamn pissed off. This wasted Chloe Grace's talents. Michael Pena, who is good, kind of giving up on him, and everybody else is just pretty much a stock character. Do not do another Tom and Jerry movie if you're going to fucking do it like this. Fucking revolting. F. Gets a motherfucking F. This may end up being the worst film of the year. And I ended up watching All My Friends Are Dead. I thought that was bad. This may be worse. I didn't laugh once. I was growing a lot. The music was shit. It wasn't for me. If you guys like the music, that's great, but it gets an F. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland. I'll see you soon.